Lorna Dueck is the host of Listen Up. For many years, she was co-host of 100 Huntley Street. She's very well known to most of you. Welcome, Lorna.
Hi, Jim. Nice to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you. Now, let's get right to it because our time is short. You were just in New York City, and this is what you brought back. Let's take a look at this video.
I think because we all know that terrorism is not a past tense subject. I don't know what causes it, and I don't know what the cure is, but I do know that I never want another 9/11.
You're standing right in the middle of Uniontown, USA. If they go ahead with this construction project, I can't imagine the animus that is going to exist out here on the street.
The mosques that are in the neighborhood now pre-existed the attacks of 9/11. This is really not the construction of a new mosque, but the expansion of the service needs of an existing community that is already here.
I think my biggest concern that as I watch the rhetoric that is heated up in the debate over this Islamic Community Center is the extent to which many people have been doing what the Bible calls bearing false witness against our neighbors.
So I've seen that this is based on the whole notion of Islamophobia. There is a kind of scare, there's kind of worry that Muslims are coming to take over the United States. No, Muslims are not coming to take over the United States. Muslims are coming to be part of these nations. And we feel that we are an integral part of this nation.
Jonathan, 29 years old, married, with 2 little boys, called me that morning to turn the TV on, and I saw what everybody saw. And he said, "Dad, we're going to the World Trade Center." And I said, "John, be careful." He said, "Okay, Dad." That was the last time I spoke to my son. This is done for the people that don't have a voice. It's done for you who we think need to understand what happened on 9/11 and not forget. Of course, we'll never forget, but we're in a very dangerous world.
Now, Lorna, this report that you've done is on cbc.ca, I understand, and congratulations getting it onto, I think it's Canada's most watched news network. But we only have a few minutes. Explain the polarization as you understand it, first of all, before we talk about what's going on. Why the polarization?
Because we are fearful of the ramifications that we are seeing globally that were caused by the war on terror. And you know, obviously, with the enormous loss of life, with the incredible human rights abuses that are going around in Muslim-dominated nations, we are fearful of Islam. We haven't sat down and had tea with a North American Muslim and asked, "What do you believe?" So we're just flat out fearful. And
so this imam who referred to Islamophobia, he's correct.
Yes. I think Islamophobia is the natural instinct we all have to be fearful of something we don't understand or that which is different from us. The Christian response is called to be quite different.
And this, was it Cummings who you interviewed there? Was that his name, from Yale?
Cumming, Joseph Cumming.
Cumming from, he's a Christian, obviously. Is he expressing a perspective that is shared by Christians in America?
Well, Joseph Cumming is being very clear in challenging us all to say, yes, he does feel that the Christian message we're sending across North America is, I'm going to be fearful. He calls that bearing false witness, because you don't really know your neighbor. You don't know what a North American Muslim is like. And rather, the challenge is, will you embrace the teaching of Jesus to love your enemies? And I mean, that challenge from Jesus came at a time when it wasn't peaceful for Jesus and his followers and the Jewish people of the day. He said, love your enemy, even though they were in a setting of great threat.
Now, many of these moderate Muslims would say the radical Muslims out there, like Al-Qaeda and others, no more represent us than this pastor in Florida who's about to burn the Quran represents Christians, generally.
That's correct.
That would be their perspective, right?
Absolutely.
And would you say that's a pretty good way of looking at it?
Well, yeah, that is their perspective. Is you as North Americans, you're learning everything you can about Islam from the newspaper or from the news reports that link us to terrorism. So The loving thing would be to sit down and find out who are we, learn from the Quran, learn from people who practice Islam. Now the challenge is, you have to sit that challenge into the context of global human rights abuses. I want to thank the persecuted church who paid for our camera crew in New York City. They are so concerned that this conversation we're having in North America is going to affect already the limited freedoms in countries where Christianity is a great minority, that they wanted to help us facilitate a voice of love. So Open Doors, which has a great voice for the persecuted church, sent their camera crew with me from LA into New York City, and we're doing a second show as well. This one will go the 19th on Peace at Ground Zero, and then a second show on Is Islam a Religion of Peace?
Nope.
And it's just a very serious issue when you put this into a global context.
Right. Now, what's your understanding of the plans for this Ground Zero mosque? Is it going ahead?
My understanding is that it is going ahead. It's going to be slow. You're not going to see this thing up for at least 10, 15 years. I do not expect they'll do anything around the 10th anniversary. It's already there. They were inside when I was there. You saw the shuttered doors. It's an active part. It has been existing there. It's going to go ahead.
Now, I read this morning on the internet that the Imam regrets going forward with this plan. Whether or not he's telling the truth, who knows? But he says he's going to have a place for prayer for Christians and for Jews and for Muslims. He wants to make it a place of peace. Is this disingenuous, or do you think he's sincere?
I think he's absolutely sincere, and I think that would be a fantastic thing if there was a place of Christian prayer, Jewish prayer, Muslim prayer, all under the same roof. I think the best thing we can do as Christians is model love.
Lorna Dueck is a host of Listen Up. Thanks for coming our way, Lorna.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
Jerry.
that insight.